We were going to go down summer or winters only, and then my daughter decided.
Okay, I'll call this meeting to order. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just an interesting aside here. I saw a thing on the internet called Easy Links, where you can get tea times around the country, and went on Easy Links, and I'm happy to announce our golf courses, and so things have evolved.
Did you sign up?
You can sign up.
No, I said, did you sign
I was
up?
trying to get a tea time for 10
We got
o'clock this morning.
1,809 rounds.
But, yeah, that's right. Well, that's really kind of where we left off, was with the golf. I don't remember actually closing the book on what we actually wanted to do, if anything, with the golf. The two issues that the one of the last discussions we were having is whether to keep the food service under their management or to new contract, move it back under us. The argument was to keep the campus full, and the idea of basically making this a zero, thus putting $73,000 at risk on the part of the directors. I believe is the version of what you put forward.
So we've already assumed we're going to renew the contract?
Assuming
Okay,
anything, I'm
okay,
just saying,
okay.
if it gets renewed, that would be
Okay.
something.
I mean, if they come back and they say they'll only sign a contract,
I don't know that there's any guarantee they're going to want to come back.
exactly.
Okay,
Yeah, right.
let's be honest. They cost us a little over, what is it, 70-some, 80-some thousand in service fee.
Right.
They're not making a fortune on it.
No. That's not the point. I understand.
So that's where we are.
Well, how did everybody feel about my friend's comment when he did the number crunching exercise, and he indicated that if you do a total charge or increase the fees of all the individual categories versus grandfathering it in, what was the number you came up with? The difference, the delta, like $1,500. $1,500. Does that have any impact with anybody?
The different rates cause a challenge for us from a membership side, trying to track it and do it. So,
Yeah,
that creates a challenge for us. But
I wouldn't do differential.
Well, see, I think it's a benefit. These golfers have been putting up with a lot of stuff for the last years, and I think it's a way to say thank you. We can't do that. Can we give them something, clubhouse or something, for renewing?
I got it. How about $1,500,000 investment in their golf course?
Marty, I'm just trying to be realistic.
I'm being
All
realistic.
right, I'm not trying to be smart. I'm just saying they put up with a lot in the last couple of years, and I can understand the grandfathering. I'll go either way, but I understand giving them back something after all they.
Raise the rates. If you raise the card fees, because they haven't been raised, you stick to the same schedule with all the other.
But Billy, we're only talking about $1,500. I mean, if we raise the rates, if we grandfather those folks in, and we raise the rates for new hire, the estimate would be a $1,500 difference. It's chump
Let's
change.
just leave it.
So it's really not going to impact.
I understand.
Okay.
I wasn't necessarily talking about the financial aspect of it. I was talking about the loyalty of those
Oh, I
players and
understand.
stuff.
Yeah, right.
If the golfers who are part of that don't see a problem with it, and the loyalty is what it is, then, forget the loyalty reward. But I, as somebody who thinks that they went through a lot, stuck it out,
And they are a really loyal group. They do support this facility. And they give a lot back to the community. They're
Yeah,
doing fundraisers and things. I mean, I think it's a very viable organization.
I don't mind, thank you, at all. I do think it's an unnecessary complication to screw around with the rates and all the account tests. It probably costs more than the benefit. So I wouldn't do that.
How many people is it?
195,
Out of
195 people, right?
Like on the new members.
Well, no,
We're talking about new
195 current members. I'm looking at the current members. I guess, is that what it is, 195? 195, right?
So anyway, if we want to say thank you, fine. But I just would do it.
Well, we talked about the pool possibly doing something. We talked about a coupon for the yacht club. This is just another aspect we talked about membership to get that. And Tom, when we're going to go back to these tabs, I would suggest we go back. This one ask, see, want to do something. Maybe if you want to package these things together, maybe.
Yeah, and I'm just putting it, those were issues that were still open on the table. We had not closed the tab on golf because my yellow pad was still inside that. Yes.
And another point that I was going to make yesterday, also brought up by Mr. Kessler, was the Budget and Finance Committee, here in parentheses, premier product offer. This is still far from being a premier product. So get caught on that premier product. It's far from product. There's still plenty of work there. We're not out of the woods by any means. I'm not saying that's going to cost a lot of money, but it's not. It's much better than it was, but it's not premier at this point. It's still
Well, Billy, I took that as tongue in cheek.
well.
I know, but it's in quotes. Yeah.
Oh, it's page 35.
To move it along, can we just agree that we're going to leave the rate the same?
No, I think we're talking about increasing it.
Okay, then we're
You
not
know,
where I thought we were.
You know what? I'm going to go with what Bill says. Just leave the membership rate alone. Do the cart fee.
I'm in agreement.
I mean, we did spend money on the batteries for the carts, correct? Yeah.
Yes.
We did replace
Oh,
them all. So,
well,
you know,
So any new members that join, they would join under the current fee structure.
we're just going to leave the membership fee alone.
Membership fee alone under the new.
Just increase the cart fee.
And won't we all be embarrassed if we get 50 new members?
Casper's recommendation is to increase it by $55 a person.
I wonder what the offset would be. In other words, if you wanted to keep this budget where it was.
That was going to be my next question.
Oh, I'm
We're not
sorry.
going to do this. Where do we find the money?
See, I wasn't invited.
No, it's a good
last
question.
night, so
It's a good question.
How much money are we talking about?
You're removing the increase. How much are we talking about? Somebody give me that.
Find my member tab.
$10,230. Is that what you just said?
Well, $10,000 is far from chump
It's
change,
not chump change.
Wow.
especially when you lost
On
half
$8
$1
million
million
budget.
2 years ago.
On an $8 million budget? $13 million budget?
Why are you having a meeting then? You're right,
Well, you
chump
stop.
change.
I'll pick it.
Okay, you two. Put your shovels down.
What would the
Where
cart
are we
fee-
going to get $10,000, folks? Because we can't just take $10,000 away. That's
Well,
not
I say,
enough.
what would, how much would we have to increase the card fees to offset that? And,
Oh, Lord.
You're already increasing.
he already has.
Yeah, that's our fees increases.
You gotta sell 225
Well,
rounds
wait a
of
minute,
golf.
wait. One of the things that
90
we
and 20.
Well, that's to get the even. We're not
Oh,
doing-
we did good yesterday, folks, one at a time.
One of the things that we talked about yesterday that Sharon was very invested in was a $500 fee for whatever the number ends up being, $500 fee, in order to buy in to the amenities here. Is there some way that we can determine rental units within Ocean Pines and charge those those rental owners a fee like $250 or $350 or something like that? We can't do that.
I'd like to report on that task I was given yesterday. I did some checking on the fees, and I also called the title company to see if I was missing anybody. Glen Riddle charges $500. The Glen Riddle condos charge $250. Possibly Decatur Farms does, but the title company did not know for sure. And the park charges $1,000. And I want you to know Glen Riddle and the park were both developed by Centex Homes. So Centex Homes put this into existence. To the knowledge of the title company and to me, there is nobody else that does a startup charge. Now, there may be, but she couldn't think of anybody, and I couldn't think of anybody, and I went back through several files. So, and this was only done by Big Box for Centex Homes, this into effect. I asked Mary Lee, I says, do you think this is in the restrictions or bylaw? She says it probably is. She was, far and she didn't know where it would be. But she would do some research. So my question, of course, number one, if we're going to do this, and you know how my feeling is on it, but if we're going to do it, when we legally do it, and I think that needs to be investigated. And secondly, it is by far not the common practice in the area.
Would you like me to reach out to Joe and get clarification?
I think that probably would not be a bad idea.
So why can't we get a list of who landlords are in Ocean Pines?
Jack, that's been talked about in the past, and I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing. In many areas, they have to get a renter's license, for example, Ocean
In
City.
Baltimore County. Yeah.
Well, I don't know about Baltimore County, but I do
Baltimore
know
County,
Ocean
you gotta get
City, if you're going to rent, you have to get a renter's license. And I think it costs $110, or at least it used to, but it currently is, I don't know. And then therefore you knew, and that also they have a noise ordinance so that the tenants or the landlords were notified if there was a problem with noise or problems that the owner of the property was also responsible. Okay. So there's been talk in the past around this table about do we register the homes and charge a minor fee or whatever it would be just so we knew where the rental properties were. And then the question was what benefit, what purpose. And we haven't gone any further than that, but we have discussed that around the table.
Well, I'm sorry.
Bob, while you're talking to Joe, ask him if we have to legally charge a fee to homeowners who rent. I don't think our declarations allow it.
So we need two points of clarification. First is
Can we charge a startup fee?
startup fee,
And two, can we
a
charge
rental.
Rental license. Rental license.
They're talking about a rental license.
That's
right,
exactly
Sharon.
what we're talking
Yes, that's not what's called.
By the way, that's a daggone deal.
All right, so let's get those answered. By the way, the phraseology, but it's so that's what I
Is it what?
entry fee as opposed to a startup.
And that's correct. Entry fee would be appropriate for something that's already been in existence. Startup fee is if it's a brand new project. So that.
So maybe that can help offset.
Well, I'm just keeping track behind
No,
you
that's a good idea.
of what
That's
we're
good.
doing
That's
because for
How
now,
do we replace $10,000?
well, not only, for all of those who want to get this down to zero, let's put it on the table. The coupon for the yacht club is gone. That's 10 of the 15. We've still got 5 left to find, and we just added 10,000 in the wrong direction.
Do you want to talk about that?
It's $1.20.
What's $1 buck?
$1.20 covers the $10,000
Are you talking about
plus assessment. Yeah, $1.18 to be exact.
$1.18 per assessment?
Oh,
That's
okay,
what you said.
all right. Okay. No, that's just a backdrop to where we are. Because our focus is to do the right thing, not.
Well, we have not voted on this.
No, we haven't.
Okay, then we're just
We have
discussing
not.
it. Okay.
No, I'm just keeping track. We didn't change a whole lot yesterday.
We took 30,000 out of the replacement reserves. That's it.
But we are going to go back.
Yeah,
Going back to this.
I thought that was just broad.
We're going to go back.
Yeah.
All right, so the other issue that was on the table was the idea of doubling down on the golf course basically forcing the 73 to 0.
I think that the argument was made that was right now it's Casper's budget. For $73,000, do we want it to be ours? Personally, we're looking at a budget right now that's calling for the revenues that are 22% higher than the best year we ever had.
Aggressive budget, very aggressive. Number of rounds, the whole 9 yards.
Okay, since I kind of brought it up, since I thought about it a bunch overnight, and I don't think it's a good idea to change it to 0. So I'm changing my mind.
Okay.
And
Well, there goes 868.
yeah, well, I know. I do think that Casper has credentials that we don't have. Okay, you can like them, you can hate them, doesn't matter. They have credentials that we don't have. They put this budget together. My guess is they think it's pretty aggressive. I don't have any data in my hand to suggest that that's wrong. I just have a feeling that I'd like to politically shove it in that particular direction. Well, in retrospect, I don't think that's the right answer. So I'm withdrawing my suggestion.
Okay.
I mean, I'm only one vote, but I'm withdrawing my suggestion. I don't think setting it to 0 is.
So if we're to keep rolling along, I'll agree with that.
Yeah, if discussion we had last year about their budget, we just need to.
But can I ask, what does it do to their, if we give to every paid member, May 1st, here's my check, here's your owner card, a round of golf? I think the cost is probably nothing. But the PR is everything.
Well, I think it's a good idea. The problem is the administration of that, because that's a free round, number one. Number two, tee times. How do you do a tee time in Ocean Pines?
Members, well, package play is done now.
You don't really understand, but I mean, as an individual,
7 days at a time.
7 days ahead of time, you got to get a tee time, and you call a national number, right?
Call a pro shop.
No, you can call a pro shop, but yeah.
And
7 days.
And if they're busy, you end up somewhere in Virginia or
Oh
something.
my, so you don't use the free coupon. What will we do?
There's restrictions, time
I didn't disagree with your idea. I'm just saying there's a few nuances.
I'm sure 2,000 people probably use it. Maybe only 1,000. Maybe all 8,400.
Yeah, more like 500.
with time restrictions after a certain.
Yeah, well,
Pretty good.
with time restrictions.
Why?
Yeah.
They pick up the phone 7 days in advance. There's a tea time at 8 a.m. 8 a.m. Fill it in.
Okay, I think we could get into the weeds of marketing down to the bottom line is this is Casper's budget. This is what they put forward. They apparently agreed with the increase. Well, we have temporarily behind on the board taking it away. I'm like a lot of folks here. I would like to say thank you to the folks, but the other side of it is the rest of the membership did invest over $1 million in this golf course. So there's a thank you there too. So as far as I'm concerned, we can close this tab.
Where are we? Are we leaving the membership fees at last year's rate?
Yeah,
or
Last
yeah.
year's rate,
Yes.
right now we're not.
We haven't voted on it.
We haven't voted.
We've not voted.
The general manager is going to put it in a budget for us to vote.
It's, no,
We're going to
not-
come and revisit
It's
it.
on the placement. But look behind you. It's on the board.
Okay,
We haven't
I'm
voted
trying
on
to
it.
get stuff off the.
Yeah, well, I know.
We want to put it
I'm
on.
with Marty. I hate the board.
But we're then just forget about the $10,000.
I didn't say forget about it. It's right there. We haven't dropped.
We're keeping track of
We're
it
keeping
till we get
track
to
of
the
it.
end.
Oh, so at the end we'll know.
Right.
Yeah.
Can we make the suggestion, Casper, that we would like to see a round of golf with every paid membership?
coming from the board of directors, the suggestion is,
The directive.
yeah, how do we look and say, no, we're not going to take your suggestion? That's what I'm saying, just a little understanding with it.
It's a little complex.
They're there, I mean, they're not there 9 to 5, but they're there 9 to 5. They're putting in their 8 hours. What difference does it make to them whether there's a line at the door or no line? I mean, people are going to come in, they're going to buy food at the grill. They're going to come in, they're going to buy golf balls. They're going to buy a beer after their round of golf.
I don't agree.
And they may reschedule to come back. They may play with Bill and never come back.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that statement. I don't agree with that statement, Bob. I think if the board of directors says, in discussing your budget, we're looking for some way to, thank the members, yada yada yada. And if they said me or I don't know, maybe anybody else around the table, I don't know. Well, it's really probably not a good idea because of such and such and such. But I say, okay, then I agree with you.
This isn't thanking the members. This is
No.
This is the
Remember
other
points.
residents
The
that
people
aren't playing.
that paid for it.
There's two different points. Is it the membership of Ocean Pond, 8,400 people, or are we talking about 200 people?
The 8,400 people.
That's a different thing. Because the $10,000 there is to the 200.
Correct.
I was just making
You understand 365 days a year, 2,000 rounds. You'll not get 8,000 people that play. We all know that. But let's say 2,000 rounds. That's 2,000 rounds of free golf that we can't book otherwise.
Right.
Just, I want to clarify that. You're giving something away, and you say it doesn't cost us anything. Well, it does if it's booked on the tee sheet, and someone who's willing to pay to play here cannot. Just as a point of reference, if you're going to, if you fill it up, even if it's 1,000, it sounds like I understand what you all are saying, but we're working very hard to get our I think the biggest thank you we can give to our membership is to break even on golf. And to me, that's the right answer, is to continue to move in that direction. So to me, and please understand, I'm not trying to not say thank you. The coupon was my idea for the thank you for the $5 million yacht club. But in this particular case, I think we have a limited resource, and that, when I say limited, good tee times, people willing to play, and we're getting more and more play. Specifically, we're getting more outside play, which, the golf getaway, Pam's Golf, those type of things, which are higher per round fee. We want to have the times available when they fall in for those. And if we say, and again, please, I'm not trying to be disparaging to any of, trying to give something to our membership. But when you're tying up, even if it's 1,000 tee times, that's 1,000 tee times that we could not otherwise book with income.
Times whatever the rate.
And let's figure you give them the $45 lowest. We're talking about giving them away $45,000 of association money.
Casper is the expert in marketing. What have they suggested to market to increase, to do for our membership? Is there anything that they can talk about, a coupon to the club, to the pro shop, or anything like that for their members? So they therefore must not think it's needed.
Well, Sharon, I'll tell you, the feedback that I've gotten from golfers is, and Bill, you know more about this than I do. Feedback that I've gotten is that Casper is really not membership friendly. The people that I've talked to have said that they don't feel like Casper is stepping up, providing them, the members, 195, with, service, country club, association service. That's the feedback I'm getting. So I went through this and I didn't see anything in here.
I didn't either. That's
Marketing plan about members or anything of that nature. And they're running it like a business. Am I misstating? No, you're not.
So do we, as a board, need to sit and tell them to go back and do more creative marketing?
Well, excuse me, but it's on page 7 of the marketing plan. Under B, objective to retain existing members and grow their rounds and ancillary revenue. It talks about ongoing events, golf and wine tasting, golf and bingo, themed dinners, Oktoberfests, having newsletters. I mean, it specifically have a whole section in here about retaining and growing memberships. And no, they don't have anything in here about free coupons.
Mhm.
That's not in here, but there is an entire section in.
Help me out, Bill.
We'll see if it happens.
Yeah, that's where I am.
It could be that they didn't think about it. That's a possibility.
Possibility.
Why don't we ask them and say, we have been thinking about some kind of reward to the members. What would you suggest? And they can come back and say nothing, or they can say whatever they want to say.
You know, I don't see it just as a word. I see it as,
I see it as an invitation.
I know more people who live in Ocean Pines that are members of Ocean City Golf and Yacht Club that are members of. I mean, that's a fact. Those people don't play our golf course. I'd like to get them to come in on that free coupon and maybe go, Robert Trent Jones is back.
Okay, let's Bob, go ask the question. If you would, not right now.
I'd be happy to go now if you like.
Yeah,
What
John's
are you
right
doing
down.
What's the question?
We move back.
The question
What
is fairly,
specifically? Do you want a coupon for membership? Is that-
no. We want to thank the members who put up the crud over the last several years.
That's the
No,
200 people.
No, 8,447.
I think we have two
There are
questions.
actually two proposals on the table. Proposal A is give something to the members who paid their membership through the mud and stayed with us. Two, it's how do we entice back people who have gone elsewhere to play golf now. May have been a member of this organization before, maybe not.
Is that not what the plan shows?
Yes.
I think it shows.
Well,
It does. So
here.
we're asking them, well, guys,
Go ahead.
we're way in the weeds on this. Again, you're the board, you can do whatever you want, but we're way in the weeds. The biggest thing we can do is become operationally efficient with golf. That's the biggest benefit we can give to our members, our non-members, our residents, or anyone you want to mention. I don't care what group you want to specifically focus on. We need to improve our efficiency. We need to break even on golf. That needs to be our primary and number one focus.
That to me is the thank you to the big
Agreed. So
That's fine.
you guys are talking discounts and coupons and what do we give to this? Just tell me we don't want to increase the membership rates. Done. Let's go on to the next thing. We'll figure it out.
Page 4. B. GRIP segmented promotions email. $35 offer will be sent to all golfers who play Ocean Pines for the first time in 2016.
So
They've got it.
They've got it. All right,
I had it highlighted and I forgot it.
William, your last words on golf.
What I'm talking about is not a thank you to the members. Now, all I'm talking about is fairness. Why are you raising amenities 2 years in a this amenity 2 years in a row when you're not doing it then? So I'm not talking about
For right now, we've
thank you
lowered
to
it.
the members.
For right now, we've lowered it.
Yeah, that, but
We haven't voted on it, but for right now, it's on the board.
Thank you to the members. I'm not asking. The members aren't asking for a thank you. They're just asking for, hey, why is this amenity being hit 2 years in a row and the other amenities? So that's not a thank you. So,
That's well put. Thank you, sir. All right, we haven't voted on this. We're just going to move on. We got the issue. You don't need to call anybody. Beach Club.
I think it was clarified, Bob, on the food banquet that happens at the beach club. It was on the yacht club banquet. Is that right?
It depends on the food. And when I say depends on the food, if it's something the beach club staff can prepare in their limited kitchen, then no, it goes to the beach club. If it's something more intense, more robust, and the yacht club needs to provide it, then the yacht club gets that.
Well, you have a 0 here, prediction. Line 384.
Correct.
So they're predicting that there'll be no food banquet business at Beach Club under the Beach Club's budget.
Correct.
Prepared,
Okay.
not beach.
Prepared by the Beach Club. That's why I thought it just anything, because I know there's weddings there. So those all go under the yacht
Typically, a
club.
wedding at the yacht club preps the food.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
And we're seeing more and more of that. So that's why we're figuring with the new yacht club line, 2 full kitchens, that we're going to be in a much better spot with the majority, if not all of it, come from it. That doesn't mean once in a while they may not do a pizza party or something that they just prep at the beach club. We just are, from a budgetary standpoint, to try and plug a couple of those in didn't make a lot of sense.
And the upstairs is available to use, am I correct?
It will be this spring.
It will be this spring, right? I mean, not today.
Yes.
This spring. The heat and air will be in there.
What is the payroll banquet line 419?
Bartenders
Bartender?
and any personnel that are serving from the beach.
Road manager.
Bartender.
No.
That's under her now. Disappeared from the songs.
I'm glad that the upstairs will be open.
Bob, I'm curious, from an organizational point of view, who is the manager of the
Linda Huebner,
Who is the manager of the pool?
Tom Perry.
Tom Terry does not report to
Tom Perry does not report.
Perry. He does not report.
Correct.
So we have 2 individual functions in the same location.
That's correct.
Name is the
And the yacht club's the same way.
You can't have the yacht club manager, the beach club manager they don't have the experience, the Comar experience, all that they need with the regulatory guidelines for the. They're the only ones we keep separate.
But is it my assumption correct in that if Tom Perry can't be everywhere, but if he's not there and one of the staff people at the pool is having an issue with somebody,
They can see Linda.
they can go see Linda.
Well,
So she does oversee
She runs the
campus.
campus,
She
correct?
runs
But
the
any
campus.
pool-related
That's
issues,
what I was getting.
Okay. Because what I heard was that I want to make sure, something to do with lifeguards and cleaning bathrooms downstairs. And there was some friction there about lifeguards cleaning bathrooms. You know anything about that?
I don't know.
We don't have
Nobody?
Like John clean bathrooms.
They do at the other pool.
Well, then how does the bathroom downstairs get cleaned?
There's staff that
Don,
Linda
Don,
It's
that guy
Linda's,
Don.
it's
There's
Linda's
staff
staff
that
there,
Linda
but at
has employed
that
to
is
clean
without
bathrooms.
anything
got
else,
Don.
like that is prep
They
job.
got-
Yes.
No, there's no
Always has.
Okay.
And every
Read
lifeguard
something
knows.
about the marina and bathroom cleaning. That may have
I
been.
can, yeah.
Things tend to spread out. You know. Anything on Beach Club?
But like I just said, lifeguards do clean
Sure.
bathrooms,
Yeah.
and they know that.
Yeah, I mean, I did when I was a lifeguard. I cleaned bathrooms. My job.
Okay, this is going to be a revenue question. You're upping the net total revenue by about $8,000. It's a very simplistic question, but we're upping the revenue by $8,000, but the net is going $2,000. So is that $8,000 costing us $6,000 to do?
You're looking at $8,000 increase. Yes, think about this. We're going to be doing, we're pushing weddings, events, other activities over there. You have cost associated, bartenders associated. So yes, there's a cost in doing. It's a $2,000 swing. I'm not sure you want me to answer that, I mean, yes, there's additional costs associated with it. We've identified the revenue. We've identified the additional cost. You know, it's I can't directly say, here's $8,000, here's $6,000, here's exactly how it breaks down.
But a bottom line return of 2 on a gross of 8 is not shabby.
That's not bad.
It's not bad. I mean, it's a fair question, but I don't think it's a problem.
Well, you've also added HVAC part of that bill, which is an increase to that.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
so
absolutely. That's the
that
goal.
number's going to drastically change.
I wouldn't expect it to drop. But
No, I don't expect that to drop.
no, I think
So you got
It's
a
a-
25%.
It's about a $6,000 increase in payroll.
If you want to put it up 4 times.
No, we're not changing it.
That's where we get our 10, yes.
We're not changing it. Okay, moving on. Parking.
Now,
Moving on. Yacht Club.
the same question.
Yeah.
So we got a pool manager, and that's Tom, and then we have a facilities manager, and that's Linda, right?
Correct.
Now, who's responsible for the parking lot?
Linda oversees the parking lot.
Linda does. Okay. Okay.
Everything over there with the exception of the
Of the pool. Okay, got it.
unless we flood.
So if there's a problem with the pool in terms of a flat tire, a riot, or a fist fight, or something of that nature,
we'll call you.
no. She's responsible. It's not the pool.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Beach parking.
Your point is?
And I'm ready to go page 4 here, which is the capital side.
Before you go to
Okay.
the next page, let's talk,
Yeah. Okay.
because I think that we just keep strangling the bill, because when all else fails, we'll just raise the beach parking. We're increasing revenues by $43,538. We're increasing payroll in 1 year, $12,553. So we have a net increase of 31,000. The payroll increase over the 5-year average is a 68% increase. Hello? Can somebody explain that to me? With 25, 24?
I can't tell you 5 years ago. I can tell you the total payroll increase this year is 1.7% for that cost center.
Well, it's
Page 2.
forecast 35,215.
Page 2.
Staff 47,768. I'm sorry, that's 12,553, and a lot more than 1%. Are you basing yours on last year's budget, or you asked last year's forecast, Bob?
We do a budget to budget. That's
Well,
how
there
we do
you
it.
go.
Well, that's what we're supposed to
One
do.
bad
right?
number goes on forever.
No, that's actually, you know what? You can make numbers up the way you want. Budget to budget's how we do it. If you,
Bob,
if the board
budget is made up. Actual numbers or not.
And actual numbers are based on rainy days, staff doesn't come in.
So a 5-year
Forecast.
average would be a good target, and
I
it's
don't think so.
we
28,000.
don't use a
I
five.
don't think
You
so.
keep trying to go to 5-year average as you did yesterday. We're not using 5-year average. We're using year over year. In June of this past year, as a great example, we lost more than half of the month in revenue and for June of last year because the rain days, the weather was horrible.
Wait a minute,
We
you
had-
didn't lose a nickel at the parking lot.
We listen to what I'm
You
saying.
could start raining now, not stop
Again,
until
you
next
can decide
January.
to hear the answer, or you can just make up your own numbers.
I'm not making up anything, Bob. How do you have a rain day at a park where it's prepaid?
Listen, you can be rude and interrupt me.
I'm
or I
not
can
being
try-
rude. I'm just trying to be sensible. Explain to me
Okay.
how we can lose revenue to rain.
Gentlemen, ladies, gentlemen, you made your point.
Have I?
Yes, you have.
Okay. I just want to
Okay,
be sure
now
that
let
they're not.
Bob respond in a reasonable fashion.
Okay.
Okay, because we're not going to get anywhere if we keep this. It's obviously we're talking about the impact of payroll on rainy days. And by the way, if in fact it is a rainy day, you have payroll people, you have staff that are supposed to work the parking lot. So what do you do with them on a rainy day? The revenues don't go up on a rainy day. Now, it doesn't affect the parking pass. That I would agree. But beyond that, let's move to page 2 so we can answer some of these questions. payroll. Insurance is actually going down 8.4%. We have an increase in club manager, which is the majority of the raise over last year's budget. And by the way, last year's budget we overachieved last year's budget by, we oversold what we thought we were, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Significant.
And then
And
we raised the
undersold.
number from there.
And undersold
No, yeah.
on the payroll by
Hey, I'm sorry, you're not going to interrupt me, all right? I'm sorry. Let's just be reasonable here. We're looking at the numbers of the beach parking for last year in the budget was $357. They achieved $374. They are now going up $25,000 from that with a raise in the fee to overachieve even what they achieved last year. So budget to budget, they're way up. Budget to actual, they're up. So they are looking to make more money out of something that, to my mind, sells out every year. Now, I understand the concept of, the strangling the golden goose. Sooner or later, people stop buying. So, I mean, that's a reasonable thought. You can't price it to the point where nobody pays for it. And I think that's the real question on the table here. What was the price? What is the new price? And is it something that we think is stomachable by our membership? So what was last year's rate and what's this proposed new rate?
It's a 10%.
It's 11%, increase of 11%.
Could somebody tell me the actual number?
That's
It's
what
$160 for the, which gives you 4 full pass. It's a $20 increase, $55 to $75 for the and the week pass went from $50.
So the person who just buys the beach club park pass for the summertime is from
160 to 175. But really, my question is still, if I may,
Yes, you can.
how come our payroll is at 47,768 when we have never, in the history of the parking lot, that I can see, I guess it's 35.
Okay, so let's get an answer to that question. Why, if you look at the numbers, and last year's budget was 46, the year before that actual was 33, like 2013. So we are at 47. Having more staff. Where is that increase coming?
The amount
I'll wait until I know it's comp. We had comp. Since you're asking me the question, we had an increase last year in staff by the one part person. Sure. The reason the revenue, and you hit it. Last year, as I started to say earlier, in June, we had a lot of rain days, so we sent people home. Right. So when you're trying to compare forecast to budget, we did the right thing by going budget to budget. We budget based on the amount of hours we will be open. If things change, i.e., and the beach club's the best example, weather conditions, we're closed. We send staff home.
They don't get paid.
They don't get paid if they're home. So therefore, that you would see a dramatic difference when we have all those weather events that our payroll would reduce. So therefore, it is an inaccurate thing to try to compare forecast because we know we lost a lot of days of rain. Right. We budget based on open hours. Now, if you look at a year and a half or 2 years ago, we did add another part-time person, and we discussed it at length at that time because of the amount of energy that's created, the limited resource we have in parking, and the line that backs up clear down 50 or down the Ocean Coastal Highway. We added the extra person to help keep the traffic flowing out, flagging, whatever we needed to do, and everyone agreed to it. So when you're trying to look, a 5-year average or last 3 years, we added the person, it was 2 years ago, I believe, when we added that extra part-time seasonal person. So
Excuse me, Bob.
Yes, sir.
Just to follow your reasoning.
Yeah.
2013 actuals includes that part-time person. 2013 actual was 33,272, and that includes that part-time person.
2014.
No, 2014.
2014.
No, I'm looking at 2013. 2013, based on,
was last year. Right, so it would not, no, it wouldn't be in this period.
okay.
In 14.
so it would be, the best we could come up with would be a forecast for 2014, correct? The 35,002.
Correct, but it's low
It
because
should include that part-time person.
Correct, but
And you're saying that it's that number because of the lousy weather in June, you sent people home and you didn't pay them.
correct.
If we had good weather, it would have been $46,000 ballpark.
Correct.
$46,000.
That's correct.
So you're less than $1,000
You're $816 difference increase from year to
Right,
year.
and that was the point I was trying to
$816.
make. We have to watch, each of the entities' differences, and this is very weather dependent beach club. Yeah, the revenue took a big hit. We made some, what was nice, we were really concerned
Yeah.
that June had crushed us for the year, but over the rest of the season, we picked up the pace, we extended into the shoulder season more, so we were able to close that gap, which was nice. But we have to budget, much like we talked about yesterday in other areas. And Marty, I didn't mean to snap, it's just that I was trying to, I didn't mean to get intense with you, I just was trying to explain it because I think you had a good question. I just want you to understand why we, in this particular case, it was broken
Does
down.
that seem logical to you, Marty? I mean, it seems logical to me. I understand.
Well, let's get to the issue that, in my mind, is the most important, which is the increase in the fee. The fee has gone from, and I tried to write fast, 160 to 175.
Correct.
What the annual was
55 to
to
75.
75.
Weekly was 50.
But in the meat and potatoes of that, just the pass.
Yeah.
I mean, then we sell more just
Oh,
passes.
sure. Yeah.
Just for the record, too, I go back to this summary of employees. We actually have less employees budgeted in the Beach Club parking lot this year than we did.
I'm sorry, we have less what?
Less, if this summary is correct, scheduled employees, each parking lot was that, what do you call it when you call it total of,
Full-time.
Full,
FTE,
yeah. you had 1.75 at 12, and you got 0.97 in the budget, but we're still up way over 12
We're just talking about FTEs, or are we talking about part-time?
total. I think that's FTEs. The
FTE.
total, the end number.
Well, an FTE is a full-time.
Okay, I'm talking total. Here, let me pull it out. In fact, this should be on the table. Special. If I can find it here.
No. Yes, in front.
So in section 1, page 3.
No wonder I couldn't find my yellow. My banana. Am I correct? Or?
We're looking.
Okay.
What's point?
What, 1.75 and 12?
Oh, here. So I'm looking for something else going there somewhere.
What's up for some?
If I read it correct.
Yeah,
That's
so
somebody with eyeballs.
No, wrong.
Actually, here you go.
so that must be.
That's what it's saying.
Okay, I'm going to carry it.
All right, well, let's do a little homework on that one.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Can we write it up there? I know Bob and I both want to take stuff off, but this one's got me. And that's not hard to do, I might add.
I think it's there. Right. In 2012, didn't you have the equivalent of a manager or something? there's somebody halfway in the shop.
We have a gentleman that oversees
You
it.
still, you still have that,
Same guy, he's
still have that, well, actually, you're-
Just clarification, we're talking about rates for the, we'll get back to that.
Okay,
We're
we'll
going to
get back
figure
to
that
that.
out. We're
Okay.
going to have to do some research, find out why one doesn't match yet. The beach club parking, if you go to your tab 5, membership tab, page 4,
whoa.
tab 5, members,
Yeah.
page 4,
4.
okay? At the very top, the top area, beach parking.
Yeah.
We have not had an increase in 5 years in beach parking. So when you're looking at a $15 increase, a $20 increase, and a $5 increase,
I'm done.
we
I don't really have a problem with the increase. I just have a problem with the increase. 25% of it being absorbed by payroll. That's where I have a problem.
I
It's
think
a
this,
it's
and this-
43,538 increase. I can live with that.
Yeah.
But then to take 12,553,
But it isn't.
But what I'm understanding, Marty, is, and you tell me if I'm wrong, it's a budget number. It's a guideline. If we end up with lousy weather May, June, he doesn't spend the money because he sends people home. Ergo, the 25%, maybe 17%,
I
15%.
hear you, Jack. As a banker,
Yes.
friend, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Last year we budgeted 46 on track at 35.2. Where's my $11,000 check? Don't tell me it's in the budget. It's only a
35.2.
budget number.
35.2 is what we're forecasting to spend.
It's just 11,000 balance. Where
Drops to the bottom line.
I know
Maybe
where
we
it
spend
goes,
somewhere
but
else.
the point is that
Nobody asked.
just to say that it's in the budget. It's only a
turn your
budget
mic
number.
down.
Poor-
somebody's-
I'm not, Marty, you're misunderstanding. I'm not trivializing it for your point. I'm not doing that. But what I'm saying is that the guy is managing the numbers. We're giving him a guideline as far as the budget is concerned. And if he brings it in at 17% of the increase, the additional employees ends up 17% of the increase rather than 25% of the increase, and weather related. Maybe it could be a lot of different reasons. Okay, so what I'm saying is the number's squishy. Now you can't get your, like grabbing a piece of jelly. You know, I mean you can't get your arms around. I mean it could be or it couldn't be. It's one or the other. I don't know what to tell you.
The bottom line
I mean
is
it's not a big deal to me.
you cannot base a budget that is weather affected, possibly, based on what you actually did last year. That would be like us saying every year we're going to have 5 huge snowstorms that we have to plow snow for. Therefore, we need to put $200 and some thousand in budget to plow snow. And the next year we don't get any snow. I mean, the bottom line is somewhere you put a dollar amount in there that is reasonable for what you think you need, and then you hope that you may break even or you may not lose by too much. But I mean, that's how I see this as being the number.
I
The
think-
difference is $816.
This is
I think that's what I said. Only
is
in
what you
summary. Wouldn't you?
That is
agree with
correct.
But
Thanks.
this is the amenity
Is
that I
that technical term, squishy?
the amenity that I use the most,
Yeah.
and that increase in personnel in the parking lot made a huge difference.
Yes.
And you probably couldn't pay me enough to deal with the angry people that are sitting in line waiting for a parking spot. But it's a very well run machine. And Linda does a great job with when there's a crowd, goes from having a crowd to not having anybody. You know, I just the people that use that parking lot,
That is one of our most valuable aspects.
No question.
the parking lot
The
actually.
beach club too.
No, people want that beach location. Boise was smart enough 50 years ago when they were doing this to buy that land because nobody else has it. So we're very fortunate to have it. And I have no problem with that increase. We haven't had an increase in 5 years.
That
We did some increases last year, we're doing some now, and as for weather related, every one of our amenities is affected by that.
Yep.
Every one of
Capital.
them.
I think we're done. Go to Capitol.
What about the yacht club?
No,
Capital,
beach
the
club,
beach
we have
park.
enough beach club.
No, capital.
Sorry.
Somebody talked to me about the paving part.
It's one of our.
He doesn't want me to talk about it, so you go right ahead.
Oh, no, listen, I prefer to sit quiet. I gotta tell you, it's easier.
No, it's easy. I take it off.
I would like rationale.
No, the paving of the park, this is one of our amenities that are heavily used, okay? One of the things that comes up every year is a request to have the parking lot paved, at least every year I've been in this role. The upside to the paved parking. You can control the space more adequately with the parking. You're able to pick up some additional parking spaces because it's clearly, we felt, and we went back and looked at, and the parking guys out there are the ones that would like to have it as well as a lot of patrons. We're able to pick up some more spacing because you're able to line it. Everyone finds their space better. Right now, with the crush and run, it makes it a little difficult. So we believe we can pick up some additional parking spaces, usable spaces. Traversing it for folks, when they're when they're parked all the way in the back, carrying all their goodies to go up to the beach, makes it a nicer, more usable parking lot. All right, is there anything you want to add to that?
No, it just makes the 8 to 10, maybe more parking spaces lose every single day of the summer season because people can't park in a single space. Some of the vehicles are getting bigger and bigger. It just helped to have it lined, and I'm sure the parking analysis would angled parking or whichever way, would increase the number of people who get in there. And that's what we want to do. We want to get them off the street, off Coastal Highway, and then park on the soon as possible. When you're losing slips every day, it's just aggravating. And I've done it, so I know what it's like.
My wife said it in that class.
There's going to be some severe stormwater management requirements. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
Yep.
Now, I'm told, but people I know in Ocean City, that if we were to pave that lot, by the time we put in the vegetation, the holding areas, the place to get rid of this water, we're going to lose parking spaces.
That's right.
Secondly, can you tell me how many square feet that lot is, or just give me dimensions?
I don't have that with me. I mean, we've done it.
I looked at the plat. I
It's a
never
block.
remember.
I don't have that right with me, Mark.
Where are you going with that? Why do you ask?
Because I think $200 is
$200,000.
$200,000 is really cheap.
Not great.
Well, I'm
I mean,
sorry.
4 inches of asphalt, you're talking at least $2 a foot.
Plus prep. Got to roll
Well,
it.
$2 a foot would include that.
Oh, okay. The concern that I have, Tom, and Bob, and Art, is priorities. I mean, we're spending $5 million on a yacht club. I think we've got to be a little judicious here. We are now opening our eyes to the reality that we have a police force that has an inadequate facility. We are realizing, and I think we're going to get serious, and hopefully Jeff is going to get us there, that our infrastructure of our communication systems through computer systems, et cetera, is inadequate. That's a lot of money. I mean, we're ponying up a lot of money, and maybe this is not the right priority at this particular time. That's where.
Let's go on record that Jack and I are in complete agreement, word for word, on what you're saying.
Can we get 2 more to agree with that? Oh, now 1 more. Okay, that's off the table.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a risk of sounding trite. We're talking about, if we're adding 10 parking spaces, that's $20,000. This is not, my opinion, we don't know what's going to go on with that building. We don't know what to do, and we have other places to spend this money, not the least of which is infrastructure, in my opinion. So you know where I am. I'm saying this one.
I do have a question. Do we actually have some sort of, is this a guesstimate or do you have it 100,000? Because
It's in
I'm
the
Marty, I
capital,
think it's
should be
low.
in the capital project.
We do have a bid.
It's in there.
Well,
Yes, sir.
In our beach club capital improvement plan, there's 200 in the near term, 200 in the 2 years. I mean, is one of those the paving?
Yes.
I mean, it says club renovation, but I'm
Yes.
assuming that's really the
One of
parking
them
lot.
is paid. Correct.
Okay, so it is in the plan for 16, not 15.
may I continue with my question? If we have this estimate of 200,000 to do the parking lot, and if a board down the road decides they want to do something to that beach club, renovate it, repair it, tear it down, whatever they're going to do, what effect will that have on that parking lot? Is that a wasted amount of
It
money we put
could
in?
impact it, absolutely. Probably would impact.
So therefore, are we throwing good money after bad? Awesome.
Potentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Do
just wanted
do
to
I hear-
verify that.
Does anybody want to keep these dollars?
I just wanted to clarify
I'm
that.
fine.
I'm
with
fine
that.
with getting rid of it.
Clarification
Okay.
is great. Moving on. This is coming out of the yacht club.
Let's take a break.
We were going to go down summer or winters
Yeah.
only,
Mm-hmm.
and then my daughter decided.
Okay. To yacht club. Let's start with the coupon.
Well said, Marty.
Well said. I think that one is was originally a pretty decent idea, but unfortunately the way it got rolled out didn't work out too well.
Well, can I ask something? This has nothing to do with the yacht club. I'm not making any comments. It's all up to you guys. But on that coupon,
Denver lost.
have we killed it entirely, or have we left it open the possibility of selling that coupon over the counter, or is that determined to be a bad idea because people will go up there and buy a $25 meal for $10, all that jazz? What was the final decision?
I thought that we left it where in August, if we needed a coupon program, Bob would come up.
I think it's a marketing department
Right.
issue, and the board should just stay out.
I would agree with that.
Unless there's something that,
If we need to do something, go out and balance it on, go out
Right.
and buy something for the use in the October through December months or something, because at the beginning of spring, in the summer, I don't think it's possible. It would be advantageous. And I agree with you, Terry. It's a market
it's
decision
an
from the
operational
manager.
function.
Yeah.
It's not.
Not a bad idea, just different timing perhaps.
So budgetary purposes, do I hear anyone say keep the coupon? Okay, so it's out. Now, any other comments?
Of course.
Bad.
I know everybody hates my 5-year average, but the yacht club's an anomaly. You can't go back last year. Everybody knows it was closed. They had a pool being built next to it. So you take out 14, you go back 13 through 9, your average payroll is 590,000. We're looking for, and we know that payroll has always been one of the problems at the yacht club. Always. 50% of sales. We're asking for $741,000 in payroll. That's 158.23 over the 5-year average, which is 26% increase, which is the same as what we're looking for is the increase in sales.
Well, I'm afraid I'm going to add to the payroll issue because as far as I'm concerned, we're investing $4.8 million in a building that has absolutely no business closing down to 3 days a week for a majority of the year and closing down to 4 days a week, closing down virtually more than half the year. When there are examples of very, very successful facilities and businesses in this area, the Shark, Sun, Hooked, you name it, they're open. Maybe they close for 2 weeks a year. I don't have any problem with closing Mondays and Tuesdays after Labor Day and moving back up. But this idea of closing down to Wednesdays as well, and then again even further. You want to close in the month of January or from Super Bowl to Thanksgiving or something, I'm all for that. But
Not
I don't.
Thanksgiving, Super Bowl.
Well, Super Bowl.
Got a little long there, Tom.
Oh!
That's recorded, remember?
Look, now, the idea for me is, do I know how to run a restaurant? No, I don't, but other people apparently do. And we're spending $4.8 million, and I just don't understand why we can't market this place and have it open for the people who paid for it. It is not just a freestanding restaurant that has to make money. It is an amenity of our community. And we argued that point back and forth. The amenity won the argument. We're spending $4.8 million, and the timeline of open and closed in that proposed plan, to me, that just doesn't make sense.
Are you seeing something I'm not?
Yeah,
It
it's
says
in the
open
business
year
plan
round to
that we're
me.
closing.
Page 2, Bernie, hours of operation. Go back to the introduction.
Look at it.
We're
Okay, so what are the planned hours of operation?
page 2.
Page 2.
No, they're looking at the summer.
Is this what it is? It's on page 2. Is that
The hours.
Yeah, and if you want more detail, and again, not being contrary to Tom's concern, yes, we have a $5 million project coming online, but we really took a lot of time looking at our history, looking at our numbers, looking at everything to really try to tighten this up to give the best possible plan. And when you're looking at some of the differences, first let's go to, if you're in your book, look at page 3 under the iClub tab. Forget the business plan for a minute and then the catering menu. Go to page 3. And it should show the operational hours and when they are and what the revenue. We actually tried to break it down by not only time of year, but month and day and everything. So there was a lot of time spent trying to get as detailed as possible to get real numbers for us to figure out when we would be open, when we would close, when it would be cost effective. So that gives you a very detailed breakdown, more than we've ever done before. Then if you go back to page 1 in that section, when you're looking at the numbers, if you look at 2012 actuals, okay, full year of operation, if you remember, we marketed the heck out of it that year and we really went after it. You're at 1.4 in the actual revenue line. We're not that much higher. We're at 1.5 in revenue, okay, but it was more efficient. So we're really using good numbers, we believe, when we're trying to calculate revenue, we're calculating payroll. If you look at the payroll costs in that year, when we had the biggest volume, we had the most people working, okay? It was almost 690, and now we're projecting 741. It's not that much of a, if you do a 5-year average when we were closed, and Marty's point taking out the 14 forecast because of the year, look at our highest year of revenue at 1.4, and then look at, of course, our expenses because we're open, and there's this almost 690. We're only projecting 741. It's not as dramatic as it seems when you're looking at the costs.
Well, I see a lot of other places doing a lot of activities and programs that drive people into the restaurant. They have coupons, they have marketing. It's marketing is what I see them having, and special nights, and you can't even get in the Sunset on a Monday night. drive by there last night, take a look at the parking lot. I did. You can't even get in the place because it is so busy. And last time I looked, this was February. So I just deal with a brand new building, the investment we made, that we ought to be stepping out of the box and doing a lot more marketing that's aimed at Wednesdays and Thursdays as opposed to weekend. And I don't disagree with the numbers that are in here, Bob, based on trying to drive, the best story that you think you can get. But bottom line is, this is not a freestanding restaurant. It is, in fact, an amenity of our community that just spent $4.8 million on it. And for for more than half the year, this thing is being closed Mondays and Tuesdays, and in a huge part of the year, it's being closed Wednesdays and Thursdays. So I know we don't agree on this one, but that's just where we are.
Now, when you say being closed, we're closed for a la carte business. We're still open for functions and events and those
What?
types.
If people who built this building want to go there to have lunch, it's closed unless they want to have an event. So I've made my point, and I'll let others speak.
May I? The year that we had that $1.4 million in revenue and that $690,000 payroll, we also had our second worst performance bottom line ever. We're talking about 12. We lost 174,945. Well, that has to be an amenity because it sure as hell ain't a business. Now, when we talk about being open year round, yeah, sure, hooked open. What do they seat? 35 tables?
Sunset is open, and they see a lot more.
And they're just keeping their staff paid.
Well, what's wrong with that?
That's wonderful. We are in the middle ocean science. We're not. 45% of these people you're trying to serve live elsewhere. They're not here. 45% of the people paying the bill to keep the building open on a Wednesday in October aren't here. So asking them to support keeping a building open that is losing money like a broken fire hose spewing water ain't right.
No, it is not. I'm sorry. All this.
You don't know yet.
You don't know
Brand
that.
new building.
And if it's losing money,
You don't know that.
are we going to just damn the torpedo?
Marty, this is a management decision I think that needs to be made as
The
we're
manager's
progressing
made the
through it.
decision. He's closing at some reasonable
But I
hours.
understand what Tom is saying. He says we can't, this is something that we have a brand new, if we're going to be successful this year, this is the year to do it. It's a brand new building. We're putting everything in it. We're bringing a new chef in. They've got a great business plan. They've got a fabulous package here for weddings and special events. We've never had a facility like this. Nowhere around can you find a place like this to do weddings. To get this number of places, you can't do it.
The only other facility on the beach we tore down a year ago.
Well, that may be, but I'm telling you, we got a nice product here. And if they're going to be successful, this is the year they're going to do it. Now, there's a lot of pressure on management to do this, and a lot of pressure on the food and beverage manager and on Bob to do this. My question to you, Bob, is if this board comes to you and say, Bob, make that number 0, how are you going to do that? Can you do it? Because this is the year. That should be the good year.
Well, all right, let me give you, it's a good question. Again, I'm trying to look at our history, trying to be, it's an interesting budget year for me because for 3 years I've been told I'm too optimistic, too aggressive, too this. Now this year, I tried to be more conservative in the approach and I'm getting the bounce the other direction.
No, you're not.
Just
a
not
couple
saying by
people.
all.
No,
I'm
you're
not saying
not.
by all.
No,
So
you're not.
we're trying to close the gap, but not do it in one huge leap or bound. We're doing it in a reasonable way. I will say we're very pleased right now with the amount of events, activities, weddings. Those bookings are up and they're continuing to increase. So I think that helps close the gap for us. But until that building's open and we've gone through a few of them, I'm just trying to be conservative with my estimates.
So if this board came up to you and said, tighten up this budget and get that number lower, that 97,000 down to match maybe the one that was year 2010.
All I'm going to do is increase I'm going to go in and say, okay, I'm going to increase revenue in a la carte and increase revenue
And by increasing revenue, perhaps it would be using what Tom is saying, extend, this is going to be your decision, I understand.
No.
I
Well,
respect it,
you
but-
guys can certainly say we want to be open 7 days a week or 5 days a week these months. We really took a look at the area, looked at the restaurants in the area, looked at what other people are doing. This is a sizable operation. We're not a small restaurant. Now, if you want to compare it to Sunset as an example, I'm a big fan of Sunset Grill, okay? They have a reputation. They have many years of quality service, good food. It's that build-up process. And they do attract people from many other areas as well. So I don't believe that we can't do that. I'm just questioning if it happens year one. Now, maybe you guys are right. Maybe from a couple of you all that have been kind of firm with me on this, saying, we believe this is the year to do it. Maybe it is. I'm just saying we tried to take a reasonable approach based on other properties in Ocean City, other successful restaurants. They close down completely in the winter. A lot of their folks go south and work and then come back. And we tried to kind of do a hybrid in between the two. So we're still open for our locals, for the folks that are here year-round, every weekend. But we're taking out those hours, and we went back and looked at, and that's what that Schedule 3 showed. We went back and looked at where we weren't successful. Now, again,
Actually,
what's that? With the old building, everything else, that's our history. We have a brand new building, more economical to run. It's going to be the HVAC. All those things are going to be more economical for us. So I don't know. You might be right on this one, but
I'm just looking at, like last night, several of us were out to have a little refreshment. And the place was packed, and that was a local restaurant here.
sure.
So the local restaurants here in Ocean Pines, that 95%, my guess, are Ocean Pines people attend those places. They're open 7 days, except for one restaurant that's closed on Sundays because of their personal beliefs.
Right.
But other than that, they're open 7 days a week, and they're open through the winter months because guess what? These people in Ocean Pines do go. So I want them to go to the yacht club. I want there to be a $5 hamburger night or a pasta night or a something night in Ocean Pines at our yacht club that brings them there. Or Brian Clark is going to be there on every Wednesday in the winter months to bring people in. And whatever the special thing is, that's the marketing that you guys have to come up with. But I want this to be the go-to place in Ocean Pines, and I think it can. But they've got to have some things to draw people in. They've got to be creative, and I think you guys get that. But I'm with Tom. I'd like to see this number to 0, and I'd like to see it open more than what we scheduled.
Yeah, well, let me got to get a clarification. The page doesn't line up with page 2. The business plan says Wednesday through Sunday through January 1st, September through January. Then it says January 2nd, Friday through Sunday, but in your chart on page 3, you show yourself open on Thursdays, January and February. So if you're open on Thursdays, January, I'm not trying to be.
No. You're not. No. There may be. We were crafting the front half. This was the final thing we crafted, which you're looking at the business plan.
Yep.
Was the final thing crafted just before the board budgets were finalized. All the numbers were crafted from this, and then we went up here and went back through it for like the 10th time and did this. Could I have missed a day? I very much could have.
New Year's Eve's not on.
Right.
Page 3 is a
That's
history
the important.
projection. Page 3 is a history.
Yeah, well, and I'm saying it's not lining up because this is showing they're open on Thursdays, January and February. Only in March do they close on Thursdays.
This is the history.
Is it
Page 3
3
is history.
or is that
Or projection.
This is
Projection.
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 New Year's Eve is not.
It's not.
It's projection.
Projection.
It's
Yeah,
projection.
I was saying that.
And all I'm pointing out is that the business plan appears to say they're closing
missed
on
a day.
Thursdays, and in fact they're open according to the projection, which I'm assuming drove no.
My 2 cents. I don't have a problem with the budget that you put together for this, and I get the tension between too conservative, too aggressive. I don't know how you solve that problem. If you do. My point is a little different. Setting the goal to 0 is a risk. I mean, all of this is a risk, but it's a risk to do that. And my point is that if ever there is an appropriate year to take that risk, I judge it to be this year. And not everyone will agree with taking that risk, but as a board, we might agree to do that. And this is almost a go for broke strategy in a sense. You open, got a great facility, you put the best food you can afford in there, you put the best service you can afford in there, and you hit this sucker hard and fast and try to do the best job you can, and you've got a goal that says, at some level, we believe you might be able to break it even or close in the first year. And is that aggressive? You bet. But I don't like the results necessarily of a slow start. I think there are times when it's very appropriate. In this case, my judgment is that this is a risk worth taking, and it's a part of go for broke strategy. Okay, having said that, I would also say at the same time that I will always remember what you proposed. I will remember who made the change. And we collectively together, which is what I think this should be about anyway, are going to do something. One way or another, we're going to do something. And I think we're all together. And what that means to me is when we come back and start nitpicking it, okay, maybe we don't do that. Or maybe we do it in a different way, and maybe we recognize that it's not something you did, or not something David did, something we collectively did, and it's a risk we took. So that's kind of where I am. So don't interpret it as being critical of the budget you prepared, because I'm not. I think that's good work. Maybe right. I'm hoping not. And I'm willing to take the risk.
Mr. Just a question.
I thought you
No,
were going to
it's
say.
a question. I want to.
No, you can't
tell me
change
I'm
it.
not-
Didn't he say that?
Wait.
Go ahead.
It's a question.
No,
It
go
has
ahead.
nothing to do with the outcome. When we go this budget, do we go section by section by section?
No.
So we have to vote for the entire
We
budget.
make changes that are behind me, and then
on
we vote on
months.
the budget.
Okay. Then how do we address his
We would
His
direct,
point.
the way we would do it is we direct this budget change to a 0 bottom line, which however that happens, he would be directed to change the numbers.
But how is it noted that it is our responsibility and not the GM's?
Well, we can put that in the motion.
It's always,
It's always our responsibility. At the end of the day, it's
Okay.
us.
All right.
everything you said. I mean, I had it on my sheet. I just did it by slashing payroll. I don't care if you increase sales. I don't care how you do it. But
That's what.
if anybody cares to know, and I know that we like to put our head in the sand and ignore history, these are the yacht club numbers for the last 10 years. We have never made a penny between November and April. Ever. Ever. Not once. Have we? Ever? Never. We only have one October, and that's that might have been one of my kids' weddings, as a matter of fact. Actually, it was.
Maybe we can change it.
And we should strive to
Maybe
do that.
we can change that.
But smarter restaurant people than us should.
Actually, no. Sunset, Hooked, there's a list a
Fingers.
mile long.
Fingers is not open
In
for
this
fine dining. Their second floor, their
I
entire
was,
restaurant's
yes,
closed.
they are, because I was just,
If you were there on Monday night, okay.
and
Tuesday,
downstairs
Wednesday,
was
Thursday, closed.
mobbed. Because they have Ryan Clark there for the downstairs casual thing on Monday night.
Monday night,
Parking lot was
they're
packed.
packed on Monday nights. They're giving away half the price rockfish and half the price prime rib.
That's right.
And John Fader does it for one
They're
reason,
buying
one
direct.
reason only.
They're buying drinks while they're
Yes.
doing it.
And
Why
they're
is he
buying
doing it?
drinks.
Why is he doing it?
Just
Because
because
that-
he says he's not open Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday anymore. This is a quote. Quite frankly, I'm tired of sitting in Telluride giving away all the money I made this summer.
But why does he keep Monday?
He stays up the weekends. He probably at least breaks even. And he's got staff.
Well,
That would be good if we broke even.
He's got
Well-
bartenders that have been there longer than this building. has
As
been built.
we discussed before, our off season has changed some. Where it used to be Friday to Sunday night, Friday night to Sunday night, as I've told Bob 1,000 times because I drive from Salisbury to here, Thursday night is the heavy traffic night in Ocean City, and a lot of people are extending to Monday now.
Right.
So,
The other thing I'd like to bring up, if it's okay, for consideration, part of the challenge we're also going to have when it comes to payroll, okay? We're wrestling with it right now with the yacht club in particular, across the board, but yacht club's going to be a very different animal for us, is the Affordable Care Act. And the reason I bring that up, employees that work over 1,560 hours, we're required to either provide them access to health care insurance or pay the penalty, okay? So if we're going to be, it's about $3,000, I think is what the penalty, something about around that line, per employee, or offer them health care. And again, I'm not a healthcare expert. I'm just telling you we're really tracking each and every employee in the association, how it impacts us. If we're full on with this facility for 12 months a year, or even 5 days a week, 12 months a year, that's going to impact bottom line payroll costs. There is no way I can get around that. Yes, sir.
Well, let me just expand a little, because I didn't talk about how many hours. So my sense of that is that we should have that club open every hour that makes sense, be plus a little stretch. I don't know when that's going to be because my crystal ball is broken. So the direction I would give if I were running is I would tell you to keep close track of it, and where you see it possible, then look at opening it up. And so I would look at the hours of operation not as set in stone. I would look at them as kind of a guideline with the notion that without looking stupid, open, close, and open, close, that either. But I would keep it open as much as I could. And because if we do that, we might actually be able to attract enough people to make it together. Now, will that happen? I don't know.
but like Bob just said, the Affordable Care Act. Okay, so it's nice to say that we have 15 part-time employees, and we're going to be open X, Y, and Z. But those 15 part-time employees that were used to having more hours now have to pick up a second job.
What's the number of hours there?
30. Less than
That's-
30. Has to be
that's
less
the-
than
that's the
30.
A
max.
little less than
Little
30.
less, has-
If you're going to be year-round,
let's say
just
it's 29.
29.
Yep.
So a lot of those
It is.
people are going to have to pick up other part-time jobs. So you're not going to be able, David's not going to have the ability to have the staff go because they're going to be able to sit around and wait.
We're struggling with that. I
It
tell you guys,
happens
we're
now.
struggling right now.
Right,
with that.
but in the background, we could have the notion that says, like, be open as much as makes sense. Having said that, I didn't say what I thought it should be.
Right.
I don't.
Well, at the end of the day, folks, if we use page 3 as the driver in there, right from your own report, the only difference is Thursdays in March. I have no problem if this place in the middle of winter is not open on Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I don't care. It doesn't make sense for it to go. The bottom line is, why don't we follow the math? Is right on page 3. Simply add the Thursdays in March back in, and you're adding 4 days from the chart that's on page 3.
With the understanding, and Tom, I got you on that, with the understanding, part of our concern, and every day we're getting smarter with it, best we can with with what's available to us. The Affordable Health Care Act is really going to impact this. I mean, there's no other way around it. Everybody's dealing with it. I mean, it's not just us. Marty?
This may be the, Terry probably knows the answer better than anybody, but I was under the impression that resort, restaurant, pools, resorts were not subject. Well, they're not subject to any other Maryland compensation.
This is federal.
This is federal.
Federal.
Well, let's take a different view of this, okay? And, you know, I could go on for the next hour on my political views when it comes to Affordable Care Act and
We
the
all could.
ungodly negative impact of this that's going to happen. The other side of the fence here, folks, is part of the biggest, and Bob, you and I have talked about this, we've all talked about it. It isn't just the building, it's the food and the service. And if you can keep good quality people, and if they end up costing you more money because of the Affordable Care Act, and you have to buy them insurance and all that, if you have to do it, in order to have the servers and in order to have the kitchen staff that stays with you year round, and they work 5 days a week or 4 days a week on the off season, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they're working 4 days a week. They're not going to work somewhere else. They're working with you. They're dedicated. They're on the team. And you're not constantly regenerating, having to hire people, or to Terry's point, they've run off and gotten a job somewhere else. So they're not even available to you to work even the. So as far as I'm concerned, this is all about having an amenity that is open, that is staffed with people who are dedicated to Ocean Pines, make a good dollar while they're working there, and we don't have to keep regenerating people all the time. And in my mind, this is simple a matter of using the chart that's on page 3, adding 4 days and saying Thursday, and I'm done. I mean, I'm willing to zero it out as well, but because I think you can market this place enough to make up for that, but I'm not going to fight that.
Well, I think
But I will fight the hours open. We'll be
Yeah. I think you win the battle of the yacht club if you win. Okay, you win it on food and service. The facility, in my mind, is third and is one of the things that attracts you in the door. But if you don't have great food and you don't have good service, okay, this sucker's going to fall like the Hindenburg.
So you're
But if you
taking,
have those things, maybe you know, you might be able to make a success of it. I mean, is it going to be a screaming success? I have got no clue. But I'm willing to try.
Jeff, I don't either, but my issue is if you want to have good quality staff, you're taking them down to 3 days a week. Well, it just,
No, I know.
it doesn't make, it just doesn't, you know, again, it doesn't.
I'm not
They have a secret to it. It's easy.
I'm not disagreeing.
They go on an appointment
Well,
every September.
But they
and
keep their key personnel on salary.
their
their key personnel,
Not
yes.
a lot.
Well, not a lot, but their key personnel are. My question to you, Bob, is, and I don't know the answer, they're talking about the minimum wage being raised to $10. I know it's different for servers. What kind of effect is that going to have? Is there any effect?
It should have limited effect because our servers are commission paid. You know,
Right.
they get a small amount. It will have some impact because we'll have to go back and recalculate, but I don't see that having at least issue
Okay.
from the timing and everything else. Now, with that being said, make sure I'm hearing the majority of the board correctly, because this will change. What you're discussing changes the bottom line FTE schedule. Everyone knows that, right?
no, 4 days in March does not change the FTT schedule.
And
If this was built off of this,
I'm
right?
telling you, with the Affordable Care Act, if we're going to keep our key employees, right now we have two total. Two with benefits. 3 with benefits. We're going to have 2 more. I can guarantee you that if we want to keep that continuity. I just want to make sure everyone's aware of it.
I'm aware of that's part of it.
And again, I'm not saying we can't drive the revenue to overcome it. Please, I'm not saying.
No.
I'm just saying there's some realities that we need to consider. tried to be conservative for a number of factors. Affordable Care Act was one of the major factors. So as long as everyone's comfortable, I can certainly go after this as hard as we can. I mean, it's our intent to make this successful this year. I would not have pushed for the last 3 years being here to get a yacht club where it is now. Okay, so you know you're going to get all my, push on this one. I just try to be reasonable and conservative in the approach. If you want me to go after this, we'll go. Look, I'm all in now, so.
Bob, just to make sure I'm clear on something, I'm fully aware you didn't come up with the Affordable Care Act. You didn't put but I'll be darned if I'm going to let the Affordable Care Act stand in the way of us doing what ought to be done. That's right.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
We're all stuck with it. We can
Right.
go have a beer and talk politics.
Right.
Yeah,
But,
that's
Which always
so.
but there it is. And it's a part of the mix.
So what's the consensus of the board on this budget? Do we follow the chart number 3, add Thursdays in March, and what? Where are we?
Well, if I heard Jeff correctly, this is kind of the guide, but not the stamped in concrete.
Right.
But you're saying
If you're going
something
to budget,
different.
you got to budget on a
You gotta
schedule.
agree
No,
to
but
You
it.
got to have a schedule.
He's saying that it's a squishy number.
They're all squishy numbers.
They're all squishy.
Well, I said that, but I mean, that's my interpretation of what you said, squishy number. Meaning that he's leaving the man. Well, you speak for yourself.
My consensus was that we're asking the general manager to go back and get that minus to a 0, whether it be through increased sales, slashing payroll, whatever, magic. We've eliminated the coupon. This looks to me to be an upside to an assessment of around $21.58. That's what I heard.
I think that
And add Thursdays back in, which will increase.
That's a
Follow
management
this
thing.
chart.
I don't
No,
care
because it's gonna add FTEs.
if
4 days is not going to add an
if he adds 60 people to payroll and makes 0,
It's not gonna
accomplish
add
what
an
I'm
F, it's not gonna add an FTE like we know an FTE. It's gonna add an FTE as a,
$10 for the coupon.
it's gonna
Oh,
add an
oh,
FTE.
okay.
in
Got it.
ours.
That answered it.
Why did you
So,
not have
follow the
Thursday
theme.
in March? Is March a month that's the slowest month?
We just looked. We went back and looked, and March is slower than most.
It's slower
people.
than
It is.
February.
And I would
Until
submit
St. Patrick's Day, which is the
St. Patrick's Day, which of course you rock and roll.
That's the unofficial
Yeah,
start.
that's the unofficial
It
start
really
of-
is.
Actually, it is the
Unofficial.
worst.
It
Not
is.
really. March,
St.
I would
Patrick's
guess
Day is the
February.
unofficial opening of
Well,
Ocean
Pete-
City.
not right now.
And I'm getting into weeds that are way deep here, but the reality is one of the biggest problems this yacht club has had ever since I've lived is in the off season. Nobody knows what the darn place is open or not. The hours changed daily almost. It came to be ridiculous. I ended up calling the place to see if it was open or not. Okay? Reality is, for me, you have a standard set of days and hours that you're going to be open, and then you drive the revenue, you drive the marketing to make it work. And if at the end of that year you find out that, okay, Thursdays weren't worth it, then you ask yourself the question, what do you do with that? And if the question is simply, how much money did you lose? For heaven's sakes, folks, we're sitting in a facility in a golf course that they are projecting a 25% increase in their business in this. And we were talking about driving them even further. And the actual revenue increase from budgetary to budgetary is about, 12% here. So I don't have any problem with zeroing this thing out as long as we go to page 3 and follow that timeline and Thursdays in March and make it happen.
Wow, I'm just going to gulp.
Hey, you're all in anyway. If I'm going to go all in anywhere, I'm going to go all in on a $4.8 million building that's brand,
absolutely.
okay?
This is the consensus. Everybody agree?
My consensus is leave it alone. He put the plan together. Don't change it.
There's
That's
one
my-
vote
I'm-
against it.
I'm on Bob's side on this one.
I agree.
You agree? Two
No,
votes.
I said I agree with Tom. You're hearing.
What? Looks to me to be 6-1 on a straw vote, unless somebody.
Nah,
Bill
6 to
wasn't
2,
saying.
or 4 to 2.
Well, we emerged from Billy.
He's with Tom.
Huh?
Where are you?
With him?
Yes.
You sure you want to do that?
Where are you?
It's 4 days.
I'm trying to talk him out
I
of
mean,
it.
be careful.
I'm hearing a consensus of what I just said.
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
Them?
Yes!
You're it.
We're done.
I tried. Look, I've tried, man. I've tried. I'm the only sensible one sitting in this.
Yes, you are.
And that may be true.
5-minute break. We're done.
We were going to go down summer or winters only,
Mm-hmm.
and then my daughter decided